oh, Asmodee, we just did a video on you. And yet, here we are again to talk about you. So, Gamma happened recently, and Asmodee was there talking a bit more about their distribution practices. They're switching up the companies that they're going to use to distribute the games, as well as do some bit more maybe direct-to-retail stuff. They also announced they're going to be distributing the Exploding Kittens games, as well as the Hellboy board game. But there is one thing in particular they talked about that you are going to be affected by.
Yes, 27 games in total from Asmodee's line are going to have price increases effective in May of this year, and that list includes many of their most popular titles, things like Catan, Pandemic, Splendor, Ticket to Ride, Game of Thrones, Mysterium, Arkham Horror, Dixit. The list goes on. For the most part, these price increases are by $5 for retail, with some exceptions. In particular, the Pandemic Legacy titles, as well as Star Wars Legion, are getting a $10 increase instead of $5. And they said this is attributed to inflation, that because of inflation in the United States, they have to increase these prices in order to keep themselves afloat. Poor little Asmodee. They really are struggling. They need all the help they can get. People aren't thrilled about this.
Oh, really?
Asmodee already had a price increase, in fact, just a couple years ago, a year or two, the whole MAP thing, the recommended retail prices, MSRP that they want stores to abide by. A lot of stores already have to go through loopholes to sell them at discounts greater than like 10% if they want to. So they're already selling these games at a higher price than I would say most board game companies do. They're generally on the pricier ends, and often you get a good product in return. In all fairness, I think most
unless
of their
you're
games,
missing a piece, then as our last video, you're in trouble.
Another discussion to be had. For the most part, I think their components are quality, et cetera, et cetera. But I certainly, as for some of these games, I don't think this increase is merited.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's very flat increase. It's not the $20 games only went up $1.
Right. You'd think that it would be maybe on a case-by-case basis, like, oh, this one doesn't have, it's just cards, so it's a little bit cheaper. No, it's just $5, and then a couple are like in tier 2 and they get $10.
Well, that's the one thing you can tell. They're the bigger boxes.
Yeah, which makes sense, but clearly this is, I think, just an arbitrary, we realized, or maybe we didn't realize, maybe we just want to find out, it's an experiment. Can we get away with this? Can we get more money? They've just put these price increases, as far as I know, for the base sets. I don't think they've said anything about expansion. Well, some expansions actually did specify, but in terms of like LCG packs, it's going to be like if you're buying a monthly pack and this keeps going, it's going to be worse.
It's already, I think, usually I pay about $15.
Right, for a pack.
To go like 20 or more for those are just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask. And, unfortunately, it's like they can, I think, and will probably get away with this just because they have such a stranglehold on those titles. They're like the ones that I listed are all some of the most popular titles that exist.
Well, not only that, if it's any of the Fantasy Flight games, those are ones that if you're already, how many dollars into Mansions or Arkham or any of the other LCGs, you're sort of like...
What choice do you have? Some people will say, "Well, I'm done. I'm out." But some people will say, "This is my game that I play," or hoard, depending on your personality. So I have to keep going, and those people are going to suffer because of that. So what's going on, Asmodee? Why are you you should space out the bad stories. If you put too many in close proximity, it starts to look bad for you.
I mean, we can go with the usual conspiracy theory, which in this case is by raising the price, not putting as much into their replacement parts policy, and stuff, trying to raise the value of their stock, so to sell it.
I mean, it's looking like that may be something they're doing. Who knows? Or they just have really bad management, bad PR. I don't know. But big changes are coming from them. There's always something to talk about.
You have until I believe May 1st is when those price increases happen. So if you were looking at any Fantasy Flight, Asmodee game, you might want to buy it now.
Yeah, when you're on your way, when you've got one armful of Purell, get the other armful of LCG packs. That's your best bet right now. Well, until Asmodee releases another bad thing we get to talk about, maybe even before this video comes out, it's hard to keep up with them these days. Let us know what you think in the comments. Or how are you going to be affected by this? Do you think it will harm? Probably mostly, I would think, newer gamers to the scene, because a lot of current gamers have these games like Catan and Ticket to Ride, but for more casual people who are being introduced, this is another barrier to entry for them. Things are more expensive.
Any of those LCGs, most of them require those 2 or multiple. And
you want those core sets.
Back in Netrunner's case, 3. So that's going to real hurt.
Yeah, so talk to us down there, and thanks for watching. And Asmodee, if you're watching and you, need some help, let us know. We're available for consulting. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crit.
Never miss out by liking and subscribing, and you can also check out more on our Patreon.
We do weekly podcasts on Patreon. Don't you want to sign up and hear more of our voices?